Welcome to another session of the Bitesize QI videos. This session focuses on how to set a SMART aim and is answering the first question of the model for improvement. So if you haven't already, I'd encourage you to watch the first video of the Essentials series, which is called How to Improve, and then you can come and join us for this session, which is looking at that first question of the model for improvement. So the aim for me is to explain how you can develop a SMART aim for a quality improvement project, and I'll explain what that means. And what I'd like for you to take away from this is to recognise the importance of setting a good aim statement for your quality improvement project, and to know how to set an aim using the SMART acronym. So just to refresh your memories, this is the model for improvement, which asks 3 key questions and is then followed through by a plan, do, study, act cycle to test ideas for improvement. And today, for this particular video, we're looking at that first question, which is, what are we trying to accomplish? Which, as you'll remember, is essentially asking you, what is the aim? What is the purpose of the improvement project? Where do you hope to be in a certain period of time? And so we use the SMART acronym to set an aim statement. And this is something that's done in a lot of healthcare practice, and particularly in QI, it's done in most hospitals that I'm aware of, in most NHS trusts that I'm aware of, use the SMART acronym. So if you don't know already, SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. So we're asking you to specify what particular patient cohort are you looking at, where is the focus of your improvement, to make it measurable, to make sure that you've got something to quantify, to work towards, by 10%, by 50 patients. To make it achievable, don't dream big, but don't dream for the moon. You need to be relatively realistic in terms of what you're looking to achieve. And it's important to set a timeline, set a timescale for your improvement work. Typically, as a rule of thumb, an improvement project lasts between a few months up to a year or so. So that can be helpful when setting your SMART aim. If you'd rather not learn another acronym, then another way to remember this is just 4 simple questions. What are you going to improve? Where is the focus of your improvement? And that might be a particular team, it might be a particular clinic, it might be a particular division, it might be a particular borough or region. It could be a certain patient cohort as well. By when do you think you'll achieve that by? And by how much do you think you can improve by in that time frame? So just to make it a bit more tangible, I think it's helpful to work through an example. So this is an example of an aim statement that is not SMART. So in this case, it's to reduce the number of pressure ulcers. So thinking back to that acronym, thinking back to those questions, what, where, when, how much, making this smarter would be to reduce the number of grade 2 community-acquired pressure ulcers. So we've been much more specific there, because we're now not just looking at all pressure ulcers, but we're looking at a certain type of, or certain severity of pressure ulcers. We've said that we're going to look at it in Hertfordshire, so we've said where. We've said by 20%, so by how much, and within the next 12 months. We've set ourselves a time frame by when. So a very short and snappy sentence that provides a lot more context and detail than the previous one. It helps someone to quickly understand what you're focusing on, but it also helps you to know what you're working towards, because to reduce the number of pressure ulcers is so vague. Do you want to reduce it by 1 pressure ulcer? Do you want to reduce it by 50%? It's so hard to gather that information just from that short sentence, but it's much clearer once we've smartened that up, as shown in the bottom half of the slide. So I've got some quick top tips for you when setting a SMART aim. What we don't want you to do is explain how. We don't want you to say how you'll improve. We just want you to do the other questions, the what, where, when, and how much. Try to keep it simple. So you should be able to say that in 1 sentence, and you should normally be able to say it in 1 breath. So if it's any longer than that, it probably means that you've got too much information in there and it can be condensed down. Have a stretch goal. So if, looking back to that previous one, it was by 20%. If we think that that's possible, but there might be some other room for improvement, then perhaps we can say, actually, we might be able to push it to 30% if we achieve that 20% within the 12 months. So just have something that you can push yourselves even further. It's important to know that it's okay to refocus. So if you're looking at something and you realise that it's too big, there's too much that you need to do, then it's okay to look at a smaller section of that first and to redo your Smart Aim, redesign your QI project to focus on something smaller, and then you can work up as needed. Smart Aims are not something that are set in stone. They are flexible. So if you do realise that you need more time, or that you might be able to improve more, or that you need to change the amount that you need to improve by, or the area that you're looking in, that's completely okay, as long as you justify that with some good reasoning. And then the final top tip I have for you, as I said in the previous video, QI is a team sport, so you shouldn't set a Smart Aim independent of your team. You should work with your colleagues, you should work with your senior sponsor, you should work with your patients and their carers, and the improvement specialist in the division, or someone who's well versed in QI, so that you're all aware of what the Smart Aim is. You're all working together on that Smart Aim and agreeing where you all want to go within that time frame that you're working towards. So there's some quick top tips that I have for you when setting a Smart Aim. Next steps for you are to watch the next video, which is looking at that second question of the model for improvement, focusing on how you evaluate change, collecting data and setting measures.